Oh,
Super
okay.
duper, we're rolling. Hi, everybody. My name is Cathy Burrell, and I'm the entrepreneur in residence here at WeBC. I used to have a clothing store, and so all of you that are doing social media, I did it all myself. So before we get started, I just want to let everybody know that I'd like to acknowledge that we're gathered here today on the traditional and unceded territory of the Okanagan Syilx people. We recognize, honor, and respect the presence of Indigenous people, past, present, and future. So, welcome everybody. If we're going to use the chat quite a bit today, but feel free to raise your hand if you want. I would like to invite any of you that are in the session today to write into the chat whose traditional territories that you're joining us from. These webinars that WeBC does goes from the top of the province to the bottom of the province, and we always love to see where people are joining us from. And Jen is going to post a map, so if you're not sure which traditional territory you're on, you'll be able to see it that way. The last thing that I'm going to say about housekeeping issues is that at the end of this session, we're going to do a feedback poll. We always like to know, how you liked the session. Was it what you expected? And basically, the most important thing of that is if you've got a burning question, if you have an idea for a webinar that you absolutely think WeBC should do for you, maybe you want a part two from the Mint Ladies, anything you want, please type it into the feedback poll and we will get in touch with you again to kind of, do that. So we're still letting people in. My goodness, it is a busy
Hi,
session.
everybody. Love it.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we offer in the meantime. We provide support for your small business journey. We offer financing to get businesses started and operating capital to fuel your growth. We hope you're all growing in your business. We offer more flexibility than traditional lenders because we take a holistic approach and provide loans based on your business's viability, not on formulas like a bank does. And this means we provide loans to a diverse range of women-owned businesses all across the province of BC and support you with integrated services, including complimentary training, mentoring, and business advising. So to put that in a nutshell, if you were to get a loan from WeBC, your term would probably be 5 years. And for the extent of that 5 years, you could call us anytime and get hooked up with a business advisor, a mentor, anything you need, we will help you with that. So that is one of the reasons that we say you should consider WeBC for a loan. Now, from essential business skills development to personalized business advice, we have business advisors. We know the right questions to ask and the right resources to connect you with. In our mentoring programs, you can connect with a network of women entrepreneurs and experts all around BC who can support and inspire you. Anybody that's interested in a mentor, if you can imagine, we have probably 10 times the amount of people, we call them mentees, wanting mentors, then we have mentors that are kind of have enough time to do that. So if you want to do a mentoring program, go to our website, we-bc.ca/mentoring, and fill out your information. And then we'll know when we do a next mentoring intake that we should call you up and say we've got somebody we think you should connect with. Now, let's see. In our mentoring programs, you can connect with a network of women entrepreneurs and experts across BC who can support and inspire you. We do a bunch of different mentoring programs you'll see online, and you can learn more about our services at we-bc.ca/mentoring. Last but not least, we would love for you to sign up for our eBlast newsletter. I don't know where all of you heard about this session today, but once a month we send you an email if you signed up for our eBlast, and we tell you all the great webinars and seminars we're doing. And most of the time you can sign up right from your phone, right from the email. So it's a great thing. So that's we-bc.ca/eblast. Huh, that was a lot of talk.
Hey.
All right, I should get an award for that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get into the meat here. I want to thank you all for coming. We've got just about everybody in. And I
Hey.
want to welcome our panelists today, Robyn and Monika. They're co-founders of Mint Cleaning. I'll tell you a little bit about them and then they can tell their own stories, introduce themselves and answer your questions. Tell us a few stories about the ins and outs of how they have become social media masters with Mint Cleaning. Mint Cleaning is an eco-friendly cleaning company owned by two Ucluelet moms, Robyn and Monika. They started Mint in 2016 as a cleaning company. First of all, they were cleaners. And after suffering from the harmful effects of harsh cleaning chemicals, and ladies, like there's some nasty stuff out there, they developed their own products that are safe for both families and the environment. On social media, Robyn and Monika are known for their trusted cleaning tutorials. That is so cool. Like we all have to clean, so why not have a tutorial that's fun?
Yeah.
Aligned collaborations and hilarious content, which we're of course looking forward to today. So we'd like to welcome everybody today to have a chat with Robyn and Monika. They're going to answer your questions and a few really difficult questions that I have for them that they need a PhD to answer. Yeah. And I'll share, and they will share how they made social media trends work for their brand. They're going to share tips for finding the right collaborations. And, collaboration is key in 2024, and what they do offline to make the most of their social media efforts. And I'm going to say welcome to Robyn and Monika.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn off my screen and just have you guys on there, which is great.
Cathy, thank you.
That no problem.
Yeah. We need to learn to be quick and snappy like that too.
Well, yeah, talking fast is always a benefit, don't you think, ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Totally. So let's bounce right in. We've got a lot of people that are really curious about how you do what you do and how you do it so well. So, first off, each of you take a minute or so, and I'm serious about that. Tell us a bit about yourselves and your business. You can go, anyone can go first.
Go for it, Mom. Thanks. Thanks, Robyn. Well, you said it perfectly. It's a funny story. We actually didn't know each other. I lived in Ucluelet. I've lived here for 18 years now. And I think I just had my second kid, and there was this little mom get together, and I looked across the room and I was like, who's that? Because we know everybody, in Yuki. And she's just like this beautiful new mom with her twins. And then her and I got to talking, and within minutes we were just like cry laughing with each other and like having the best time. And then we ended up just talking to other people. And then somebody overheard us saying the same thing, that we're both thinking of just starting our own little cleaning side business with Airbnbs and stuff while our babies were young. And then one of our mutual friends was like, you guys should talk. And then so we kind of talked again. And the next day we went for a walk. And by the end of our walk, we decided to start a cleaning business together. I'm not even kidding, by that night, because it's such a small town. I already had people messaging like, I hear you have a cleaning business. Can we be your client? Blah, blah, blah. So it happened really quick. I'd say within a month we had staff, we had 40 vacation rentals we were managing. And it was a crazy whirlwind. But so that's kind of like how it started. And then I'll pass it to you.
Yeah. So then it was years, we were using the harsh chemicals, and then we were both just getting really sick. I had a scare. I ended up having scarring on my lung. I'm sure a lot of people know this story. We tell it a lot, but it was a wake up call. And so then we really wanted to make a change. So we started using other eco-friendly cleaning products. We couldn't find ones that were really like professional grade that we liked using. And so we just started making our own. And so we were like dived in, researched. And then at this time, COVID happened. So then our business got shut down. So it was kind of the perfect storm of like having more time on our hands, like so many people did. And so we really dove into making more products, and became sort of like a hobby for us. And then at that time, we started an Instagram account because we were board, and
we were in like a Chatelaine magazine for cleaning, and then somebody was like, how do you not have a social media account? Like, and so we're like, oh, okay.
So it was like advice, like start an Instagram account. And then we just started showing cleaning tips using our products, not thinking we were going to sell them. We were just using, and then people were like, oh, what are you using? Can I buy that? And we're like, oh, okay. And so then we were making our cleaning scrub, and we put 12 for sale on Instagram, and they sold out like that. And we're like, oh, okay, well, this is a thing. And then the next day we put out another 24. We sold out the first day. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. And social media was such a huge part of our business because that's how it all started. And then that's kind of it. Fast forward to today, we're in over 200 stores and 72,000 followers on Instagram, and a huge e-com site. So there you have it.
That's great. I mean, that's great. I mean, you're done. There you go. We're just now. Yeah, because I think, and the people on this call are probably considering the idea of, like when we ask them to do a business plan, you have to do a marketing plan, you have to see who's buying your products. You guys did it in a roundabout way, but basically, like who was asking for what made sure that you knew what your best selling products were and how to market them. So, that's fantastic. My first question is, before this all happened, were you two social media junkies or had nothing to do with social media?
No, just like an average Facebook, Instagram, just the same thing, posting pictures of our children and that kind of thing. And at first, and I think that's why this is important. I remember when we first started it, I felt so uncomfortable. Like I would shake after I'd post a story and be like shaky. And it was just weird. Or every time we'd post a post or when Reels first started, I'd be like, have that gross feeling. So I do get it. Cause now we're so used to it that you're like, when people say they're nervous about it or they don't, I'm like, what? And then I have to go back there and be like, ew, yeah, it was really putting yourself out there for the first time and feeling embarrassed and watching yourself feel so gross at first. But it's like anything, the more practice we did and the more we did it, then it just became routine and it just became part of your job. And it no longer became this like overwhelming thing. Yeah.
So other question, I mean, basically when you started and to now, how much time are you spending on social media a day? Do you guys split it up? Do you automate a lot of stuff? Do you like, what's the average? Because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about that.
I would say we're on social media quite a bit. We try to post 5 to 6 times a week, actually. A lot of those posts you don't see because they don't hit the algorithm and they fail, they don't do well. But it's kind of a case of quantity over quality, if you may. And sometimes like the most random post like will hit 1 million views. It's so crazy how Instagram works. So we do kind of like our process is we do post every day. Monika and I are very busy. So we actually book a time 1 day a week where we get together and we film like 6 reels in one time. So we're very, very organized. Monika is kind of the social media, that's her wheelhouse. So she'll kind of organize our reels for the week, and then she just kind of puts me in. And then we try and post on stories at least every day. So a couple stories every day. So
but I think again, for a lot of people, maybe they think you have to post 5 or 6 times a day. So saying that you only, you do a day where you get organized and then you post once a day, 5 days a week, that seems reasonable. Like it's weekends off. I mean, good for you guys.
Yeah, totally.
That's fabulous.
And we try to do it, like she said, it's funny because you put it out there to your followers, what do you want to see? And everyone's always like cleaning tutorials, this. And our products and tutorials like don't do that well, but we post something so random and funny and it does well. And takes us 2 seconds to like make those posts sometimes. So it's just like, it's a balance. So we try to do like 2 or 3 funny ones a week and then literally 1 product one. Like we barely show our products. And then maybe like a cleaning tutorial. So like that, just you get an idea. It's kind of like the idea is to like filter in the serious things among the more loose stuff, which works for our account. But again, if you're in accounting, you might have a different thing, but realizing what works for you and make that your kind of 80% and then like the other things. So
yeah. So the nervousness goes away after a while, I would assume, like putting yourself out there, not so bad. Everyone again hears about the trolls and the terrible, other sex that, wants to make fun of blondes who are doing cleaning, but how have you found that?
Funny.
Yeah.
I always said don't engage. And if you don't engage, they go away.
I see how they see it. I'm like, we are so cringy sometimes. But I'm like, but 90% of our sales come from Instagram. So it's the jokes on, I'm also like, I don't care. So it's having a bit of a thick skin. Sometimes you're like, oh, like, I'm a loser. But, but honestly, it is just that you realize you can click on those people's accounts too. And that is what they are. They're trolls. So it's just, it doesn't matter. You just don't let it get to you and realize that.
And you'll get 90 amazing comments, 1 bad comment. And you have to remember that people focus on the bad, but focus on the good, like let that go. And it's kind of just, we laugh at it now.
We laugh so
it's funny.
And laugh at ourselves. Like, we're like, he's kind of right.
Yeah. I mean, like that was cringe.
I mean, it only hurts you if you're kind of like thinking to yourself, like that you're never going to be successful. This isn't going to be a real business. You've already smashed it. So, I mean, like, how can they hurt you? I mean, it's silly.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about collaboration. I know that, you know, it's one thing to say, the two of you sitting here, that you did it all on your own, you know, did everything and blah, 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 but you're in a small town, which a lot of people freak out and they say, I can't have a business in a small town because there's not enough clients. I don't know, you know, all the negatives. What have you found with collaboration, and how has that, you know, really grown your business or moved you to another level?
Yeah, so we've made some big mistakes with collabs and we've had some huge wins. So what kind of the funny story is, we found out Jillian Harris was staying at one of the hotels here. And my sister-in-law actually was like, you should send her products. I'm like, no, I don't know. This is so awkward, so cringe. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I actually drove to where she was staying in the hotel, and I went to the front desk and I said, I hear Jillian Harris is staying here. Do you mind giving her some of our products? And then I just left thinking like, whatever, that was weird. And she actually got them and posted on her stories that night. And this is when we just started our product line. We got like 1,500 followers overnight. And so that was such a huge win for us. So I think that's a huge thing. If you're like nervous about putting yourself out there and, you know, and just kind of go for it, I think that really works. So having her support was such a huge driving force, just for the ego side of it too, just for like the momentum of like, oh my God, this is so awesome.
Yeah, it was a big high.
A lot of our like collabs, we'll find someone who's kind of in our niche, or someone who I know like loves sustainability or is a mom or wants to be healthy. And so we'll just DM them and be like, hey, we'd love to send you products. Put it up, like no pressure to post. Just want to know if you like them. Another big tip is email always works better than DMs. So a lot of the influencers will have their email. So a lot of these influencers have someone running their Instagram for them. So they don't actually will see their DMs. But if you email them, chances are they're going to see it. So that's a big tip.
I have one quick thing to add to that too. And we saw like Birds Papaya speak too, and she kind of spoke on this, is like, also, if you're reaching out to these people, make sure you're following them and make sure you kind of know something about them. You're like, we've had even people reach out to us like, we want this donation for this, and you look and they're not even following, they've never been a customer, or like, you know what I mean? It really helps if there's a bit of like, I've been following you, I love this post meant so much. If there's like familiarity or like that kind of feeling, people are more likely to like read it and you know,
totally. Or start commenting and liking their posts all the time. Kind of like they're seeing that too. So just kind of like,
getting their brains.
And then be consistent. You can keep trying, you know? So that's huge. We've had a couple collabs at the beginning. We reached out to so many people and we sent them so much products. And then some of them were just like not working out. That wasn't the right demographic. And so really trying to figure out who is your niche. Who do you want to use your products? Who do you want to see your content? And then, you know, find and reach out to them.
And a hot tip for that too, if you're like reaching out to people and you're like, oh my God, they have like 100,000 followers, great. But make sure you're looking at the posts and looking at the engagement, because people, especially back in the day, used to buy a lot of followers. So some of these accounts, I'm like, oh my God, 200 followers. And I'm like, they got 200,000 followers. And then they have like 2 comments on a post and like 5, like, you know, so engagement is huge too. Make sure the following looks real. And sometimes you'll just see the comments are like, love this, need this. And you know, that's just a following loop that they all do this for each other. So that's a big tip for us. I'll look at those accounts and I'm like, this is just this isn't really this big of an account. And then some you can tell it's like, you know, it's 100 comments and they're unique comments and so just do your research that way too. It's huge. Like these big accounts don't mean they have following and engagement at all. So.
And the micro influencers is big too. Don't go for the big 300,000 plus. Those people are really, really expensive. You're going to be paying $12,000 for a post for anyone with 300,000. I don't have that kind of budget. I'm sure you guys don't have that kind of budget. So stick with the micro influencers. They actually want to grow their brand too. And so they will be way more apt to post, and they often have really high engagement. So 6,000 followers, you know, under 10,000, kind of those micros, those are really good starting point.
Totally.
Excellent. So question then related to you're posting 5 times a week. You're actually doing your posts on a day. You're all organized. What about responding to people? What about the time that you take to make sure, as you were saying, that you know, that you check people out, you vet them, you know, you don't waste time with people who aren't legit, you know, or don't follow you, et cetera, et cetera. How, like, can you estimate like a day, how long it takes you? Do you do it every week? Like, how do you work it?
Like for answering our DMs or?
Like the idea.
Answer DMs. It's one of our most important thing. And a lot of these followers are our customers, and I treat them like that. And like we treat them like that. That's
our community.
It's our community. It's so important. And so many times I've had somebody that I've been like conversing with for almost a year, just in DMs, or they comment, and and then all of a sudden they're like, I finally bought a whole package bundle, and there it is. So, and it's not just for the sale. I actually get to know, I actually saw a couple people pop in, and I'm like, oh, like, you've been following forever, and you see the names, but it's probably every hour or two. But we get a lot of DMs because we offer cleaning tips. We get a lot of cleaning questions. So it's probably more than the average. So, but it's so important to us. I would say, like, I try when I'm at home with my family, like I have 3 kids, she has twins. We're trying to be better at like, hey, phone's away. So I try to use a lot of work time now. Yeah. And I used to feel bad about that, but now I'm like, I'm going to take this hour and just get through these DMs, get on our post, answer everybody comments on a post. We always answer every comment, and that's creating community, and that's like creating trust and friendships. And that's like our customers, right? So it's number one.
One hot tip with the algorithm, the sooner you comment on somebody, the better. So we found that like if you post something, get like within that half hour, just start answering comments if you're getting comments right away after your post. So that's like the quicker, the better. That's kind of like a hot tip for you that we've noticed.
That's good.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, where did you start in social media? Like, which platforms did you start with? Did you drop anything? Like, how did Instagram come to the top, et cetera, and how you use your website? Like, do you guys have a blog, or is it all through Reels? And tell us a little bit about that, because I know people are always confused about tools, and they're confused about like how to, a lot of people are scared to drop something that's not been working for the last 6 months, but
so we have our Instagram kind of hooked onto our website. So we started with Instagram. So that's where our meat and potatoes are. We are definitely dabbling in YouTube now and TikTok. TikTok is real scary. But we're trying. And we're kind of like getting excited about starting from the beginning again. So I think we have like 1,200 followers on TikTok, but I mean, we're getting views. So we're getting like 800 views on a post there. That's 800 people still seeing your stuff. So I know Gary V, I don't know if you heard of him, but he's big on like, go where attention is. So attention right now is on TikTok. Attention is on YouTube Shorts. Attention is on, so kind of just, you got to keep trying. But definitely Instagram is our main form, and that's our number one. But don't be afraid to kind of like try out the different platforms. There's so many right now, and
we're having a blast. Like we had one YouTube one that it did so well, like 10,000 views, which is huge for us on the new. And you're like, okay, well, we got this. And then the last 2 I just posted had like 2 views, and I got like, I just want to delete them. I'm like, oh god, and like, but it's not. You just keep going, and then and then you get the feeling of what it's like for any new business starting over. And like we have, like, Instagram has been so much work for us, and I feel like we deserve the following we've had and the wins.
You just got to stay consistent.
But it gives you that little taste of starting over again. So I have so much appreciation for it, because it's a slog for sure. Like the TikTok and YouTube, and Facebook's good too. And Facebook's a really good place to put ads and stuff. A lot of people are more they're keen to click on ads on Facebook. So like do your meta ads through Facebook, Instagram. But yeah, Facebook's also another, you kind of think, oh, is Facebook a dying thing? But there's still like our age women are still on there, and that's your customers. So you got to keep on there too.
Yeah. Fantastic. Reminder that the idea is for a lot of people, social media is all about them, and it's not, it's about your clients, right? These people that are supporting you, that's what you're doing. So you must get harassed every day by social media firms wanting to take all this burden off your shoulders. So have you considered it? Do you know like what threshold you're going to be at before you say, oh, I'm going to have someone else do it? Or are you guys still happy to do it? Like at this point?
We're so happy to do it. I think one of the misconceptions is, I was saying this before, I think the big influencers like 2 million plus aren't running theirs. But I think still like now that we're at 72,000, it really isn't that much more time and engagement. Like it's a little bit, but I still think, you look at these big accounts, they're still on it. They're still like seeing it. I think, I don't know if that answers your question. We're not really getting harassed yet. It's still working for us. We
get a few of those spammy ones for sure. But I think it's important. I think us being the face and the name to the brand and answering the questions ourselves is still so important to us. I think it's like maybe we're control freaks. I don't know, but I feel like I wouldn't trust somebody else yet to like answer the way we'd want to, or like give the right advice, or what product product or whatever. So, and it is still exciting for us, and our community is so important. But I'd be happy to pass off like TikTok to someone. So I feel like I need like a 20-year-old to take that on. But,
I think starting out, it's so important to be the face of your brand. People want to know the founder, and that's where marketing is going right now. So I would say my biggest piece of advice is stay on social media if you can on yourself, and then maybe hire out like maybe the admins or like some other aspect of your business, maybe kind of find someone to run that side for you if you can. I think it's so important, especially starting out, to try and be the face of your own brand. Be your own influencer. It's my number one piece of advice.
No one can sell your business like you.
Yes, so, no one knows your business more than you. So that's huge.
So just some information about like how you think, do you have any stats around your business, or I guess like a plan with regards to, in year 1, you wanted to have this many followers. In year 2, you wanted to have this many sales related to this one channel, et cetera, et cetera. How do you guys think about a marketing plan versus how you're doing everything on social media on your own?
Yeah, I think followers, a lot of people get stuck on followers. It's like this vanity metric and it's ego. I think our biggest thing is like engagement. We want people like engaging with us. We want people to commenting on a post. We want something to resonate with somebody. So I think our huge thing, and maybe a big takeaway, is like, how can we provide value to you beyond just selling a product? So say you're in accounting. So how can I like teach you accounting tips so you can be more aware? Or how can I teach you how to clean even with your products that you have lying around your house? So I think doing 80% value, figure out how you can teach somebody and educate somebody, and then throw in your products after that. I don't know if that answers your question.
And so have you found that, your growth, like, do you say like, gee, I want, I want like, I want to sell this many more units this month. And like, I've had 2 million views on something, that, or is it just kind of in the background humming along, making the truck go up the hill sort of idea?
It's both. We're both goal driven. We always have our vision boards up. We always have numbers we want to hit for sure. And I think that's important. And I think the same thing in part of our goal every year, it involves like, hey, this many followers, which we've already reached for 2024. So then you're like, oh, we'll just have a new number or whatever. So it is, I think goals are huge. I think having things written down and checking things off is just, it's such a good feeling. And I think we really wanted to push marketing because everything has been so organic for us. We haven't put much money into marketing at all. So this year is the first year we actually hired a marketing girl. So she's we're creating the videos and she's just pushing the ads into like Meta and all these different and Google ads and working on our SEO. And so we're kind of leveling up. This is the first time we're actually going a bit beyond just like our organic kind of marketing. So, and I feel like it's working. And I've had quite a few friends being like, oh, I keep seeing your ads. I'm like, oh, is that we have it set so one person can only see like one ad one time. So we're trying not to be annoying, which I think is important because I'm like, oh, ads, but it just people see it. And I know for myself, I see something 5 times, I buy it, it's just like, oh, I guess I need this. So,
So do you find that the two of you like kind of learn by reading articles online or buying a book like from Gary Vaynerchuk or who, like, what do you do? Like how do you keep yourself, because again, neither of you were social media masters before you started this. How do you keep up with trends and sort of what you see? I mean, good for you for the TikTok. I mean, it's not everyone, right?
Well, check it out. It'll be good for you.
I think social media is your number one marketing tool. If you're not using it, you're going to fall behind. So I think that a lot of these big companies are still using TV commercials and they're not doing the Instagram. I think that we have a one up being like a small business, starting out and kind of being new. So I think, social media is huge for us and we're so into it. But I will say Meta ads, getting into Facebook paid ads is so daunting. If you know anything about it, like the pixel and everything, that's just like, what? So I think hiring that out is huge. So really find a good person that knows that, because it is very confusing. And then they do all the analytics, then they see what's working, and then they put more like that ad, so they do all the testing. We do not have time for that. And that is very, very exhausting unless you're into it. But you can find a Facebook ad manager so easily now, way more easier than finding someone to push content for you. And we have seen huge return on ad spend from finding that good person.
What's the number? We have
it's like we were up $21 per dollar spent on ads, we got $21 return. Now it's gone down to 15 just because we're pumping a lot more out. But we've seen that's huge, but really try and find a great social, like a Facebook ads manager person that can help you with that.
Okay, so based on that comment, so how did you figure out, and a lot of people that are sort of, they're new to social media, so how did you figure out that you needed a Facebook ad manager? Like, what was your process? You know what I mean?
You can Google someone local. We found someone local. We knew a girl who worked for like Midday Squares. I don't know if you've heard of that company. That's a huge, they're so inspiring to us. We love what they've done. So I would say you can reach out to a business and say, who are you using? Or you can go on Facebook and figure out who, like every business probably uses meta ads. Just ask them, just like, hey, do you have a good Facebook ads manager that, you know, that's working for you? You can ask us for our contact.
She's so busy.
She's really busy.
Ask her before. I'm like, do you want more business? Because we have people asking all the time. She's like, but we'll share.
So find a business that you really like and that you admire and say, who's running your ads? Or so there's so many companies, like Vancouver has so many companies that you can reach out to. And get,
such a good idea, because the idea is you don't know at the beginning what you don't know. And then basically, you know, once you get started, and I don't know how you two feel about the idea of, again, it seems like you're pretty open about it, but do you find that lots of people are contacting you and saying, tell me how you do everything, you know, I need to kind of start, and then, you know, that's exhausting and you're already busy and et cetera, et cetera. So you must have kind of started doing that yourself to some degree before it all happened. But do you have any tips and tricks of like approaching someone who you admire and who you think, you know, is doing it wonderfully, and getting them to kind of share some information with you?
Yeah, I think that's a touchy subject, to be honest. We're very open to and willing to share. But I think a lot of small businesses, they didn't get the help per se. They had to grind it. They had to work hard for all those suppliers and that information and do it the hard way and learn the mistakes. So I will say this as a business, when you're asking someone for a mentor, be careful about asking for supplier information and like the nitty gritty, because that's actually what I've learned along the way is like, that's like a private thing to businesses. I don't know. It's just the way it is.
It's a thing.
And what I've learned, and we've learned that kind of the hard way, really, like, oh, maybe we overstep by asking. I would say your biggest tip, maybe find someone that's not in your demographic, that wouldn't be a competitor to you, and then ask them for their advice on certain aspects of entrepreneurship. And that's just the way it is. So, but we are actually very, very open. We are willing to be like, here's our, you know, contact for this or blah, blah, blah.
But sometimes it is like that where they'll ask a supplier, and like we've made thousands of dollars in mistakes doing all this, and then we found out and we're just like, well, there you go. But but we are we're like she said, we're happy to help. But
you two have made a mistake. I don't understand what's happening now. That can't be true.
How much time do you have?
So and I wanted to talk to you too a little bit about community. I know, like, again, small town, a lot of people in BC live in small towns. They think that, you know, again, even if they're selling online, etc., there's this small town connection with regards to networking, marketing. We get calls at WeBC all the time about how to meet more people. Do you find that your social media time is kind of dragged you away from actually going and saying, hi, how are you? Or do you guys have any tips about, you know, meeting people, or do you join groups or networking? Are you a member of the Chamber of Commerce? What do you do?
I think, like, for us, we always say this, the fact that we came from a small community helped us way more than hindered us. We had, everybody knows each other. Everybody wanted to help us out right away. Everyone's like, can I come pick one up? I'll order. And then they're like, I sent some to my mom. And it's such a wonderful community, and everyone's so supportive. And we have like the community board we're on, and right away people share, did you hear these girls are making this, or right away in there. So I think we, in our local newspaper, reached out, and like, I am part of the tourism board, and we join, we're very community connected, and we donate to all the things. And I don't know if you've just recently seen, but we, again, back to mistakes, we made a big $10,000 pouch mistake. And so now any of those sold, we're donating to our local food bank. So I think always appreciating where you came from is huge, and never forgetting that these people, like, started us off. We wouldn't be where we always say, if we started in Vancouver and didn't have a community like this, I don't know that we would be where we're at. So we're so grateful. It worked for us having our community for sure.
Yeah. I think, it's just grounding to some degree to know like that, if you didn't say you were from Ucluelet, I mean, why would you not do that? Right. Like everybody is there to support everybody, and your success is their success. So, okay, that's great.
Cleaned a lot of their houses, so they owed us.
Well, again, mistakes. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, either of you can comment. The idea that, either a mistake can crush you, or a mistake can be a totally perfect learning experience, or a mistake can be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like it hurts a bit, but you figured it out and you won't do it again.
Yeah, that's it. You got to let it slide. I mean, like we find the funny and the unfunny. So when we get 10,000 pouches and they're totally wrong, we just like, well, that was, we just laugh it off. Like, okay, it's not, as long as you're healthy, your family's healthy. You know what I mean? That's nothing else matters. Yeah. It's like, it's fine. It's fine.
It hits like it was an expense. You know, like we're not like, oh, mistakes are great, but it's trying to like, we turn that into something awesome. And, I mean, I think that's
great.
All you can do
and learn from it. Yeah. So,
so another, very careful. Well, it's an ego, something that, just kind of brings you right back down to earth. You're the same as everybody else, right? I wanted to know a little bit about the idea of being on social media. People almost think that it's a one-way trip, right? Like you're on social media, you're pushing everything out like a fire hose online, and you respond to some DMs or a lot of DMs, et cetera, you talk to people and do, et cetera. Do you find that people that comment on your social media posts actually give you ideas and, kind of help you form new products or new content or things like that? Can one of you speak to that?
Yeah.
The idea that you just don't have to think about everything all by yourself in one day. Make it happen.
I wrote a note about that because I think for us, like often we'll put something out in our stories, like, what do you guys think? And we always take the feedback, we take the polls, and the winner poll usually wins. So our community is so much part of our business. Like you guys have helped us build like so many decisions. Like, what should we call this? What should we do this? Oh no, this happened. What should we do? So our like customers and community have just like, this has all been their journey too, I feel like, which has been huge. It's been all of us together, and even personal things like we'll be like, what should I do? My kid, like, I think we trust our community, and when we're happy, same thing, vice versa. They ask us questions, we'll answer them, and we ask questions and they give us feedback. So it's definitely like a relationship.
Totally. People love to be involved. Take them behind the scenes and say, what should I name? We just did it. What should I name my new candle? And the winner won. It's like, so I think that's huge for sure.
Yes. Full disclosure, that minty scrubby stuff that I use, it's like I get it on the fill. It's fantastic. It works on everything. So
as for content, totally. Someone's like, how do I clean this? And then I was like, oh, we should do a reel out of that. And so that's huge. A lot of people are just like, I really want to see that. Or I think with the content, Monika and I have like a group chat together. You can even have this in your own phone if you don't have a business partner. If you find something funny on Instagram, just save it and put it in your like, this is a good idea, because you're gonna forget.
We call it Instagram inspo. So that we don't bother each other. Nobody has to comment on it. We just throw it in there, and then when it's our day to do Instagram, we go through there. And
so because like when the inspiration hits, it can be at any point. If you're in your shower, you're like, oh, I gotta write that down. So have a little thing in your phone being like just ideas of like, if you're scrolling someone's Instagram and like you find something funny or you think that could pertain to your business, just save it and just write it out and think of a way that you can turn that into a reel.
I have a little notepad on my bed because I find things funniest at night, and anybody follows us, they know I'm like an insomniac, so I just like lay there, and all of a sudden I'm like, because I used to be like, I'll remember that, and then in the morning I'm like, oh. So now I just always just like scribble something, and sometimes I'm like, what? But usually I can like kind of remember. But writing everything down, saving it, or having a special place, because when it hits, it's there and you will forget it. So make sure you save it.
Well, and that's such a great point. The idea that I think people believe that if you go into social media and you're promoting your business and promoting your brand, somehow you have to be someone else. Someone who's perfect, and someone you don't tell anybody you can't sleep, or you don't tell anybody your kid did something weird at school, or whatever else like that. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Like,
I think we're pretty open, but we definitely, there's certain aspects of our personal life we do not share. I think my husband actually said to like us, I think both of us, it's like, I don't really want my kids on social media. And I was like, fair enough. And I had to honor that. So we will post on stories the odd time, but we're not posting much about our children. I think there's a misconception that you have to show everything about your life to grow on social media. You absolutely do not have to. You can have those boundaries personally and just show what you feel is like most comfortable for you. And you can grow either way. You can totally grow a brand without showing anything personal about yourself. But as long as you get vulnerable within what you want to share within your business, I think that's important. People want to feel something for you. They want to feel something towards you. So I think, you know, towing that line a little bit of what you're comfortable sharing, that was just a boundary that we had. We just don't feel like we want to. So don't feel pressured that you need to be super vulnerable, be somebody you're not, or show something that you're not comfortable with, because that's going to actually show through your audience. I think your audience is a lot smarter than you think. But we say this all the time. One of our biggest tips is like, if you're not funny, don't try and be funny. I think that's going to come across as inauthentic. Or if you and like fill in the blank for anything, for any aspect of that, I think being authentic to yourself is, you know, dive deep into, you know, what that means for you.
I think social media is full of this, that, and the other thing, but it is so disappointing when you realize that somebody is just putting on a front and they're not, you know, they don't actually clean. They don't actually, the products don't work the way they should. So yeah, no, great tips. Okay, so we have 20 minutes left and we've got 40 sort of questions in the chat. So I need 5 minutes at the end to say goodbye. So what I'm going to do now is ask anybody that wants to ask a question, and Jen can, you know, provide some of those as well if there's something. But if anyone's, you know, not too shy to ask a question, I think the girls would be happy to answer. So yeah, go ahead, raise your hand, or just, I think raising your hand with all these people would probably be the best, and we'll just kind of move over that way. Now, don't
be shy.
Oh, there's one. What are you using for scheduling? Polly wants to know. So scheduling means, you know, like your social, like, are you using Hootsuite, or that's what you mean, right, Polly?
No. Okay. I literally have them all in my drafts, and then I'm like, today will, like, it's it's also, I piggyback on what happened the day before. So sometimes if we had a really funny one that hit, like yesterday's did really well. So today I posted something that I know is not going to hit that well because we kind of trailed. So I try not to do 2 duds back to back, and I try not to do 2 really good ones. I try to blend in the ones that I know won't be as good right after a really good one. So I don't think scheduling for us, for what we found, doesn't work necessarily. I kind of wing it a bit in that way. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. Yeah. Polly says you're smart. Do you have a marketing strategy? Christina wants to know, like, do you have something written down? Do you have it? Like, you can't have it in your head. So, I mean, like when you first realized that social was working for you and that this was going to be something that you were going to grow your brand, did you actually write a social, you know, like a marketing strategy, 5 pages, 2 pages, 75 pages? No.
No.
We
got no time for that. No, we don't have a marketing strategy per se. We are a little bit more with Lauren, our Facebook meta ads. That's kind of her wheelhouse, which we're just kind of giving her content to test the market. But I think when we start out, here's a good tip for you. Find a brand that you really like, or your niche, or someone, maybe an influencer or someone, and go through their reels and see what has hit. So, you know, the big views, and then look at that and analyze that of like, how can I make this my own? I think that was huge for us in the beginning, and just see if it works for your audience. I think that's like, just do some research and do your own like R&D and just see what reels are, and make sure it's in with like what you admire, because then that goes back to being authentic. So don't try and do something you're not, but go back to maybe a brand that's in your niche or somebody that you admire, and just see what's working for them, and then kind of take that.
Having too much of a plan with marketing isn't great either, because what you think might hit doesn't. So you have to change. So it's like people that when they have a big birth plan, it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. So I think also being open-minded with your plan, that things might change. And like she said, with our ads, we're putting it out there, and we're like, things that we didn't think would be the big ones are. So now we're like, now the plan has changed. Okay, we're going to do more laundry. And so if that makes sense. So like we always say, a plan is good, an outline, but like room for flexibility is even better.
Yeah. And, you know, basically I want your answer to be, yes, I've done a 57-page marketing plan, but basically what you're saying is that you're doing market research every single day, which is a marketing plan. So, I mean, however you do it, whatever you call it. The idea is you're listening to your clients, you're figuring out what works, and you're doing more of it.
Yeah,
totally. Valerie has a question. Valerie, go ahead.
Hi, thanks so much. I used to live in Yuki, and I love your products.
Thank you so much.
They're so great. I was wondering, there's so many brands that now do have natural cleaning products, or like a genre, I'm a counselor, and there's so many different counselors, and I'm just wondering how, I guess, you stayed confident in marketing your brand, or differentiating, as you know that like they could do mint, or they could do, I don't know, a different natural brand, especially if you have similar products. Any thoughts on that?
I think, well, a big thing we always say, I think Robyn's quote was like, there's a big enough pie for all of us. And like thinking that way is huge. So you don't get scared where competition is fine. Yeah. And I think, what always sets us apart is that we are the face of our brand. We're showing tips and tricks. We're not just static feed posts of our products, like buy this, buy this. We're trying to be more of a community. Also education. A lot of these brands aren't necessarily, there is a lot of greenwashing still. So a lot of actually brands that are actually as eco-friendly as ours is actually quite small if you actually read ingredients. So we're trying to teach our community a bit about like read your ingredients, because this and that. But I think having the belief that there's a big enough pie for everyone is huge. And then you don't get so scared. I think like we used to get so scared of
scarcity mindset.
We'd be like, oh my God, this person just like, oh, and now it's like, no, like have confidence with that. Be like copycat, that's a compliment. And we'll still do it better. And we'll still, like we'll still have our loyalty of our customers and have that confidence and allow those other businesses to come, because it'll push you.
And I think everyone is unique. Someone wants to do a cleaning product with mint in it. There's still going to be something different about us. So I think honing in on what makes you unique and go with that. So I think for us, one thing that makes us unique is we were professional cleaners. So we are professional cleaner approved. So we really dive into that. So we got to figure out what is unique to you. And then no one can replace you. So you're first. So if you're putting yourself on social media, no one else can do what you're doing. So no one can replace Robyn and Monika. So I think that's a good tip, is like, don't feel like anyone can copy you, because that's just impossible biologically.
Well, and the whole idea is
thank you.
Thank you. And the whole idea too is the fact that, there's got to be the variety of things that you do can be copied verbatim by somebody else, and it doesn't work. And that it's because, like you say, everyone's unique. And the idea is one thing that I haven't asked, somebody did ask about the Gary Vaynerchuk book you mentioned. Do you know the title?
Day Trading Attention. It just came out. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. Reads like a textbook, but it's so juicy. If anyone is starting out, get that book. Highly recommend it. Yeah, we use it. It's in our office all the time, and it goes through every platform. It goes through content creation strategies. It basically just, I'm getting chilled. It just pushes you to do social media. It really gave us the courage to do YouTube, to do, I'm not doing Snapchat yet, but TikTok, and just really, just go for it. Because it's like I said, it's free marketing.
Yeah, and like brands will fall off the face of the earth, like Blockbuster, Kodak. If you don't go with what's happening, you're gonna fall off. You can like trust have so much like pride in but you have to go where things are going. So those companies that were like, film will be around forever, and VHS, and stuff like that, like their $1 billion businesses can collapse, right? If you don't go with what's happening. So that was exactly like he said. We're like, okay, TikTok, like as much as you want to fight it, but it's like, you're going to show up on there too. Yeah.
Okay, ladies, everyone wants you to say slowly the name of the book and the name of the author again. Go ahead. Okay, people, pens ready. Are you ready? Okay, go.
I'm writing it. Day Trading Attention. Gary Vaynerchuk.
Good.
Sorry, we talk so fast.
There you go. There you go, everybody.
Excellent. Okay, and I want to ask a question about price. Everybody today, again, there's this myth on social media that if you're on social media, you should be like fast and dirty and cheap and blah, blah, blah. Tell us about your pricing strategy related. Do you get a lot of pushback? I mean, your stuff's not cheap. It's not expensive. It's what it's worth. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean,
I think price compare, like any business, you compare to your niche. So we find brands that are in our world or in the refilleries we're in, and we definitely try to stay within that. But you do have to make money, and you do have to you have to watch your margins. Like we've made mistakes with that. We're not on a lot of our products, we're not making what we should on them because we have guilt.
Yeah.
And we're like, we can't charge that though. So it's a balance. So you try to make money. Some products you might make more on, and then that kind of like, you know, allows for the ones that you're not making the margins on. So
it kind of, what I'm realizing like along the way, it comes down to self-worth. So it's like, it's kind of goes deeper of like, no, like we're worth this. We were having a hard time pricing out our book. And I was like, oh no one's going to spend that much money on it. And it's like, no, we busted our ass for 2 years on this book. Like we're going to see what happens. And then before you know it, people are willing to pay that price. So I think, like she says, you have to make money, and it comes down to, why don't you want to charge what you think you're worth? And you'll be surprised. People will pay for a good product and pay for the story and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Type or say the name of your book, please.
Our book. Sorry.
Swap it for Mint.
I'm like, you guys didn't listen last time. Day trading. Swap it for Mint. It's on our website. It's an eco-friendly cleaning guide. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not about social media. It's just like cleaning tips and tricks and like, it's 135 pages. There's DIYs. There's everything. It's kind of,
wonderful. Yeah. You know, again, it's one of those things that everybody realizes. I mean, we say at WeBC all the time, if you're not making any money, you actually don't have a business. You just have a hobby, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't want you to work this hard for absolutely nothing. Women already do that all over the world, you know, and we're not going to kind of promote that. And the idea is, you know, I'm sure everybody understands margin, right? I mean, you've got a margin in your product, and maybe you're not hitting what you want to, but eventually you will. And that will be, you know, some other things you're going to have better margin on. And so that's the benefit of having high and low items. So exactly. Okay. Any other questions? I see lots of questions, but they're hard too because they stop. Can you share your Instagram account? What is your Instagram account, ladies?
It is @mintcleaning_. We can write it in. @mintcleaning_.
Yeah, @mintcleaning_.
Okay, great. Any other questions? We've got probably another 5 minutes until I have to do my spiel. Questions?
May I ask a question regarding what editing tools you're using to make your Instagram posts, please? I'd be very appreciative.
Good. Yeah. So I used to actually do most of it just through the Instagram reel, because I read that it's actually better for algorithm if you're doing it through that. But then when we started jumping onto other platforms, I tried out CapCut. So we can write that in there as well. It's an app. It is freaking amazing. I'm still like only 50% there of what it's all capable of, but it's been really helpful too with us doing videos that we want to do as ads and stuff, because it kind of has that ability to put B-roll footage over when you're talking, and it has like more of the fun caption kind of thing that's more eye-catching. So I got really excited about this app. It's pretty new to us, but I've been using it now, and then I kind of can make the video, and then you can just post it on all the platforms. CapCut. Can't say enough good things
but
about
I think like if you're just starting out, I'm not the editing, and Monika, you weren't editing when we first started either. So we've learned this along the way. And I think just starting out, use the Instagram reel itself. I think it's great.
There's a
starting
lot of
base
functions in there.
Yeah. But if you are into editing, then get CapCut.
Yeah. Just play around it. It's like anything. It seems overwhelming, but just, I don't know. I just do best if I just take a moment and just play around and use all the things, and then you kind of figure it out. But
Okay, so I want to let everybody know that the ladies have volunteered to kind of give their contact information, which will come to you tomorrow in the email that you're going to receive from Jen. And so you can ask questions. And I also want to, just before we go, can you guys tell us the story about Dragon's Den? What happened there? What was that like? I mean, there's a lot of people that are, you know, they're thinking that their product needs to be pitched.
Yeah. Well, we're still waiting. It hasn't been aired yet, so we can't say the results of it, but we can say it's actually quite a funny story. Robyn's was more like, we should do Dragon's Den, and I'm like, I'm obsessed with Dragon's Den. I'm like, oh, that's an absolute nightmare. And then I said to her, no joke, I said, if they reach out to us, I'll do it. Otherwise, like maybe another year or something. The next day we got an email, and I thought she was joking. Like I thought she made up this email. And then they had reached out, the producers, like, you've been invited to try or to audition. Yeah. And then the next day we had to send this audition. And then within a week we found out we made it. And then it was like, flew to Toronto, when was that?
Like a month ago now. Yeah.
Yeah. And did it.
Yeah.
And it was amazing experience. And like
highly recommend. Again, just put yourself out there, just apply for it.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's so awesome. It's like you live once, right? Just you
never know who sees. And like when Robyn dropped off that gift bundle to Jillian Harris that day, and then fast forward a year later, we ended up being in a Jilly box. So making those little movements, really, you never know what'll come from it. Putting yourself out there, it really pays off in the end. So I don't take the full credit to Robyn for the Dragon's Den, because I don't think I would have had the nerve.
It was the most the most nervous I've ever been in my life. We were hot mic when I went to Monika. We were waiting in the background. I'm like, Monika, would you rather do childbirth or this? And she was like, childbirth.
It was a nightmare.
It was so scary.
The armpit sweat on my shirt after, we actually made a great reel out of it, because it was like something I've never seen in my life. And I clean and I have children and everything. I'm like, what color is this? Like, what did I sweat out of my body that day? So it was great. Our products were great. Got all the stains out. So it was a win. Yeah.
And you know what's so interesting is you guys just don't do one thing. You know, some people, they tend to, with their business, they try one thing because they're obsessed with thinking that that's going to work. You know, it's going to work if I could do this. You do a little bit of everything. You go and deliver stuff to a hotel and hope Jillian Harris has it. You go in Dragon's Den. You just work on your Instagram reels until it works. You try TikTok because it might work. I'm sure it will. So, I mean, excellent. You know, all that stuff is part of the journey of being an entrepreneur, and you, the two of you, show it so well. So, okay. So, yes, don't hate me, all you people, but we gotta go. So,
any of your questions,
totally, or Instagram, yes, whatever works for you.
They're great. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to me, because that's how it is. Thank you. I just want to thank you again. You know, thank you to Robyn and Monika today for, again, being real with how it is to do a business and how it is to market yourself on social media. Absolutely no apologies. I mean, like, you're just doing it and it's working for you, and you believe that other people can do it too, I'm sure. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So thank you very much for everybody. I'm just going to also plug Mint to tell you that we have like a special promotion at WeBC in the month of June. And part of our gift basket for this one promotion we're doing is a bunch of Mint products. Yay! So if you go to we-bc.ca, there's a stringer along the top. And the stringer says, you want to learn more about marketing, click here. And there's a great promotion. So anyway, these on-demand courses are the cat's pajamas. You can actually go ahead and download them from our website. You have 90 days to do the course. You get a workbook, and you can learn strategic marketing, which is what we've been talking about today, financial fitness, or HR for small business, which we all need. So we have probably 2 questions or 2 minutes left. And so what I want to do is remind you about the feedback poll. Monika and Robyn have told us a lot of stuff today. They have shared a lot with us. If something twigged in your mind and you want to see a session done by WeBC about it, please, Jen will put up the feedback poll, and you go ahead and write something in and make sure we've got your name, and we will get back to you. And it was great. We had I think we had 95 people here today that made it onto the call, and all the rest of the people will receive the recording tomorrow. And reach out to us on social if you completely don't, if something happens and you don't get the email tomorrow, go ahead, reach us at client service at hello@WeBC, call our toll-free number, you know, ask somebody in the universe to send you our contact information. I'm sure we will send it to you. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody for being here today and taking an hour out of your life to be with us. We all thank you, Robyn and Monika.
That was so great.
Thank you so much.
We should do a TV show. You should come back every week. I mean, it just is good. I'm glad. Brandy, Jen, I hope you hear that, because that's what's going to happen. So okay. So Jen's going to end the poll, and we're going to end the session for all of you that are busy today. And like I say, reach out to them, reach out to us, and with any questions. And
absolutely,
thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys.
I'm reading all the comments. You guys are so sweet too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, all real like you too. So thanks.
Bye.
Bye.